fitness and sports instructor at Wainwright. Today we're going to be doing core circuit training. Of course, before we begin, I always want to encourage you to create your own warm-up to make sure that your heart rate is up, your blood is pumping. I am going to go and run you through a short warm-up together, but just make sure if you have any injuries or concerns to address them before we begin. And of course, make sure that you subscribe to this video or to our channel so that you can keep updated with all the news and everything that we're doing. So to begin, let's go ahead and get ready into our warm-up. The first thing that we're going to do is just high knees. So everyone together, making sure that our knees are nice and high. Good, keep going. Make sure that you're moving your arms. Get your whole body included. Good. We're going to change this into butt kicks. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Going right into butt kicks. You can put your hands here if you need to. Knees are going to try to stay together and in line. And then feet are just coming right up to the butt. Good work. Keep this up. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. Showing your body here. We are going to go into a world's greatest stretch. So if you haven't done that before, no worries. First thing that we're going to do, take a nice lunge forward. Your hands are going to come to the inside of the leg. Then you're going to take one hand, reach all the way up to the ceiling, and then back down, coming back up and switching sides. Now if you have the space to do this, don't be afraid to actually walk through this, okay? So I'll be coming through, switching sides, as so. Good. Let's do 2 more, 1 on each side. Don't forget to look up to the ceiling. Follow your hand. Last one. Good. Next exercise that we're doing is going to be inchworms. Now, how I like to do this is we're going to be standing on our mat. We're going to stay in the same spot. Take your hands, touching the ground, walking your hands forward, just so that your hands would be underneath your shoulders and you're in a plank position. Then you're going to walk your feet all the way up. Now, if you don't have the space to keep walking, turn around and go again. Have those feet to the ground, hands to the ground. Good, into a plank position. And then walk your feet all the way up. Stand up, 2 more. Hands, ground, walking out. Really feel that in your whole posterior chain. Good. Last one. Good. Fantastic work. We're going to add a little bit of activation and a little bit of mobility before we begin our full workout. So, everyone's going to sit down. It's really, really important to remember that your glutes and even your flexors are involved with the actual core. Okay? It's not just your abs that whenever we talk about your core. There's a lot of other muscles, including certain back muscles, your glutes, and your hip flexors, just like I mentioned. So in order to get those warmed up, we're going to do a 90-90 stretch. Feet are right in front. You're going to drop your legs so that you have 90 in the back, 90 in the front. Okay, then we're going to lean forward. And now we're going to lean back. Good. Forward again. And back. We're not holding this position for very long. keeping this dynamic. And back, and that's gonna be the last one. So once you're done here, you're gonna sit back up. This time we're gonna add a little bit to it. We're gonna make sure that we're really warmed up. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna push up with our hips so that we're standing or almost in a kneeling position, and then back down. Let's do 4 more of those. 2, 3, squeeze your glutes at the top. 4, last one. 5, good. Going back into that neutral position where your feet are right in front of you. We're gonna drop our legs the opposite way. So you have 90 degrees in the back, 90 degrees in the front, okay? We're gonna go back to the leaning forward, hold for 3 seconds, and then coming back. Whenever you're back here, you should be feeling it in that back hip flexor, okay? All along the front of that leg. And then forward, and then back. Remember, if you can't go the full distance that I am, if you can only go to here and it starts to hurt, make sure that you don't go into that pain. Okay, you're stopping right before the pain, just to your own body's limits. And back. Good, that was the last one. We're doing the same thing that we did on the other side. So you're taking that front leg and pushing up, squeezing with the glutes, and then coming back down. 4 more. 2, 3, push those hips forward. 4, 5, good, fantastic. Next thing that we're gonna do for our activation is we're actually gonna lay down, we're gonna make sure that we have movement in our T-spine. And why that's important is because your core, all those muscles actually attach to your spine. It's there to protect it so that you don't hurt it if you're lifting heavy loads, if you're twisting certain ways, anything that your body's doing, it's going to keep it nice and tight so that your joints aren't moving all over the place, okay? So to get that moving properly though, we're gonna lay on our side. Our knees are gonna be up. Remember that 90-90 position that I was talking about with your knees? We're gonna keep them like that. One arm's gonna be forward, making sure that it's right in line with your shoulder. We're gonna have the other arm touch. Now we're gonna do what's called an open book. So we're gonna take our hand, put it all the way to the other side, try to touch the ground. Your head and eyes should actually be following this hand. Now here's a little tip. Whenever you're doing this, make sure that your hips are staying pointed at the ceiling. It's so easy to cheat by rotating back with your hips. Keep them still. If you can't do this, go ahead and hold something in between your hips or in between your knees, and that will actually prevent you from going back and forth. Good. Now keep going with this. If you haven't done 5 already, make sure that you're there. So 3, 4, 1 more, 5. Good. Let's go ahead and switch over to the other side. Good. So remember, those knees are at 90 degrees. Arms are out front, just at shoulder height. Don't let them come too high forward or too low down. Now we're opening up, twisting that T-spine, almost coming to touch the ground. But again, make sure that you're only going the distance that your body allows. If you're starting to feel pain, or if you just can't move anymore, don't push yourself through it. Don't hurt yourself. Good, that was 2. 3. 4. 5. Good. Now there's one more tricky thing that that I really want to go and mention before we actually get our core, and that's to make sure that you're actually bracing properly. If you can't brace properly, then sometimes it's actually hard to go and do any of the core exercise that you're doing because your body's going to compensate and use other muscles. If you use the wrong muscles that you're actually supposed to, then you're going to end up hurting yourself or even worse, okay? So how we're going to make sure that we're using the right muscles, we're going to lay down on our back, okay? Make sure that your pelvis is nice and relaxed, so your back should be on the floor. If it has a slight arch, that's okay for now. You're going to go ahead and find the highest part of your hips. Once you find the highest part of your hips, you're going to take your fingers and you're going to just roll in slightly, okay? So if you can feel that bony part, go in just until you can feel that you can almost squeeze down into your belly, what it feels like, okay? Now one more thing before we start, a lot of people like to flare their ribs. It's really common, especially by going and trying to keep your back straight, they end up flaring the ribs instead. So how we're going to begin, we're going to imagine going and pulling our ribs just slightly towards our belly button. And another way to do this is almost by going and pushing our back, low back, not the full back, just the low back into the ground. That's another way to imagine it. So it's a very, very subtle tilt that you're going to do, pushing those ribs towards the belly button, or, as I mentioned, pushing your low back into the ground. Now that we have that, we're going to take that spot where you were touching, and right by your hands, right where your fingers are, you're going to try to push out for me. Okay? Now it's very different than what you may have seen in movies, where they're always like, okay, brace so that we can punch you in that stomach. We don't want that anymore. What we want is you to almost imagine you're pushing your pelvis apart and splaying your hips, okay? It's very subtle. You may not feel a lot, but let's go ahead and try that. We're going to push out for 10 seconds. Go ahead. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, and relax. Take a deep breath in. Now, some of you may have noticed that either two things happen. One, you were holding your breath, or two, your shoulders may have either started to come up or they could have even come up to your ears. And a lot of the time that's just because our body's so used to compensating, they want to actually use more of our upper body to help brace with that core. We're not focusing on our upper body today. I just want to focus on the core so you can relax your upper body, get your shoulders away from your ears, okay? This time, whenever we do the 10 seconds, try to take 2 deep breaths while we're doing this. Okay, so find that spot again. Good. And let's brace, and I'll count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And relax. Good. I hope that was much better. Now that you have that understanding of the brace, we're going to do one more exercise just to really feel it. So this time what we're going to do, we're going to go into a tabletop position. So our legs are going to be up. I want you almost at that 90 degree again with your legs, okay? So your calves should be parallel to the ground. What you're going to do, you're going to take your hands. You're going to put them right in front of your knees, okay? Now at the same time, you're going to try to push your knees towards your chest. You're pushing your hands into your legs. So really, it shouldn't look like you're doing anything because your arms and legs are just going to stay still. But what you're doing is actually activating that core. Now another tip as we're doing this, make sure that our upper body is still relaxed. Your shoulders are down, your head's going to stay on the ground. Okay, so let's everyone get into that position. So both legs are up, my hands are going to be at my knees. We're going to hold the pressure for 10 seconds again. So whenever I say go, we're going to push into our hands and push into our knees. Ready? Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, relax. Now if you felt a lot of pressure in your upper body, make sure to squeeze those TBAs that I was talking about before. So right on that side, that's where I want you to feel that pressure. Okay, we're gonna do it one more time. This time, even another cue that's really important if you want to, it almost feels as if you're about to use the washroom. That's gonna include those pelvic muscles as well. Okay, so let's try it again. Having our knees up, hands going towards our knees. We're gonna hold that position for 10 seconds. Ready? Go ahead. Push those knees right into the hands. Create that pressure. Your legs should be staying in that 90 degrees still, and then your lower back should be pressed on the ground. We have 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. Fantastic. I hope you're feeling very warmed up. If you're not warmed up from that, make sure to go and pause this video. You can do a little bit more into your own exercises, and then once you start back up, we'll jump right into the circuit. So, the circuit today, we only have one circuit, and I'm going to explain what we have. We're going to be doing 4 exercises: glute bridges, dead bugs, clamshell lifts, and alternating V-sits. Okay, they're not very difficult. I have chosen the easier versions just because I want you to focus on those TVAs and that core bracing that we already practiced. Okay, we are going to be doing this 3 times through. Each exercise is going to go for 45 seconds. I have my timer set out, so you don't have to worry about that. Just worry about completing the exercises properly. And then we're going to have 30 seconds rest in between each exercise, letting us get prepared for the next one. The only equipment that you need is yourself. If you want to make this harder, I will show you how to actually use a little bit of other equipment to make it more difficult. But for now, if all you have is your own body, we can do lots of fun with that. We are going to start with glute bridges. Whenever we do this, to practice, feet are going to be in so that your hands are almost touching the back of your heels. Okay? My head's going to be relaxed, and all I'm doing is lifting up to the ceiling, making sure that I'm going to a neutral spine, not hyperextending. Go neutral, squeeze your glutes, and then drop back down. Okay, we're doing that for the whole 45 seconds. The next one that we're doing, dead bugs. Having our arms and legs up, almost as if we're going to get into that tabletop. But this time, our arms are going to be staying straight up. We're going to be doing alternating opposite arm, opposite leg, one down and one up. Okay? Back and forth. Good. The next one, clamshells lifts. A little bit trickier. We're going to be on our side. So a regular clamshell, if you've ever done them before, you can go into this wonderful pose here with your hands relaxed. Your feet are going to stay together. Your hips are almost at 90 degrees, but they can be a little bit wider, okay? What I want you to focus on is those feet should be at the same level as if I drew a line down of my hips, they should be at the same level of my hips. So if that means I have to bring them up a little bit, that means that I have to bring them down. That's okay. It's at your own level as long as they're in line with your hips. Now, to make it a little bit challenging to do that lift, I'm going to have my elbow right underneath my shoulder. My hand is going to be up on my hip. I'm still going to do the same clamshell movement where all I'm doing is spreading my knees. But this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up with one leg and then come back down. So I'm actually pushing with my bottom leg as well and then squeezing that opposite glute. Okay? We're going to do it on one side and then flip over and do it on the other side. The next one's going to be alternating V-sits. A regular V-sit is whenever you have your hands and legs up, you're going to come up and try to touch. You're going to try to keep your back as straight as possible. So almost as if you're sitting up nice and straight and then coming back. Actually made it a little bit easier by doing alternating V-sits. So instead of going and doing both arms and legs at the same time, you're going to brace your core and you're going to come up and touch one arm and one leg, alternating, crossing over. Good. Okay, so that was the glute bridges, dead bugs, clamshell lifts, and the alternating V-sits. we're gonna get right into our circuit. My clock is ready. We are gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's begin. Going with those glute bridges. Our feet should be in, almost to where you're going. You're touching your heels. You're coming up, squeezing the glutes, coming back down. You don't have to go super fast during this. I want you to take your time and really squeeze your glutes and try to have your core brace on the whole time. If you need to go and hold your core or touch where we were touching before, that's okay. Go ahead and hold your TBAs there. Make sure that you're squeezing them. We have 12 seconds left. Keep going. Good. We have a whole 30 seconds rest. Take your time. Make sure that you're breathing during all these. The next exercise that we're doing is those dead bugs. So remember, we're going to have our back straight on the ground, pushing our lower back into the ground. Legs are up, arms are up, and then we're going to be alternating opposite arms, opposite leg to the ground. And we're starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Make sure that those legs are parallel to the ground. Coming in, and all we're doing is a quick tap. I don't want you to actually rest your arm and leg on the ground here. Good, we have a whole 45 seconds. Make sure that you're breathing, but you're still bracing your core. You can make exercises harder by just squeezing the muscle, contracting the muscle that you're supposed to be using. Good work, 12 seconds left. Almost there. Good. Take a break, grab a little bit of water if you need to. We have 25 seconds and then we're going into the clamshell lifts. So, hips are coming to the side. Make sure that you're up on that elbow. I don't want it too far forward or too close to your hips. It should be right underneath your shoulders so that your shoulders don't hurt. Those feet should be in line with your hips. Okay? Good, let's begin. We're pushing up and back down, nice and slow. Another way to do this is actually push your hips slightly forward. Good work. Squeeze your glutes at the top. Keep your core engaged the whole time. This one's going to be a hard one, making sure that you push up the whole time. If it's too hard, you can take a step back and just do regular clamshells. Okay, but I encourage you to at least try to do half of it with a lift. We have 10 seconds left. Good. Relax. We are going over to the other side. Making sure that we're ready. Lots of time to relax here. Lots of time to catch your breath if you need to. Remember, this is all about bracing your core. This isn't necessarily going to be one of those exercises where you go all out and are sweating and look like that wonderful glazed donut, okay? Focus on that brace and you will get a wonderful workout. Good, let's begin. Pushing up and then back down. Good work. Keep those feet together. Make sure that you're pushing your hips forward at the very top and you're squeezing your glutes, so you're squeezing your butt. We have 20 seconds left. In 10, keep going. Good. We have those 30 seconds. Now we're going to start with the alternating V-sits. For the V-sits, I want you to think about going and keeping your spine nice and tall, as if there's a rope in between there. So anytime that you're lifting, you're lifting your whole body, not just with those shoulders. I don't want to see a hunch. Okay? So legs are going to be down, arms are going to be back, and we're going to be alternating, touching opposite foot to opposite hand. Let's go. And touch, and back down. Good. Try to sit all the way up here, keeping that back nice and straight. Nice work. Pull those shoulders back. "12 seconds. Almost there. Good, and relax. We are going back into those glute bridges. So for this one, to make it a little bit harder, what you can do is actually grab a weight and put it right on your hips, okay? So if I'm in that glute position, it's sitting right in that crevice where my hips and my core, or my hips and my abdominals actually touch. Okay, that's where I'm gonna keep it. I can keep my hands on top of it to make sure it doesn't roll. Good, starting with those glute bridges, going into round 2. Remember, those heels should be just at the spot where you can touch them with your hands. You're pushing your hips up, and then coming back down slowly. Control the movement the whole time. Now, another thing that you could use if you don't have a weight is a textbook, a book bag with something in it. You can even use soup cans if you want. You can use anything that you can, as long as you're being safe. Okay, I don't suggest using like another human being or something that will actually be squirming around or cause you any issues. Make sure that you have a good grip on it. Pushing all the way up. Good, back down. Dead bugs. So, a tip for dead bugs to make it a little bit harder. You can do several things. Actually, let's stick with the weight first. I'll show you the next one in a minute. For this one, if you want to make the dead bugs harder, you can actually hold the weight right at the top and just move your legs. This is going to put more pressure onto your actual arms, onto your shoulders, making sure that you're holding it, and just move your legs. If you want, though, you can stick to the regular dead bug. Sorry, opposite arm, opposite leg. There we go. And going back and forth. Don't be afraid to try it at a different level. Having those shoulders there. Make sure that they're down, away from your ears. And then just using your feet to go back and forth. Good. Don't forget to brace your core and to continue to breathe. Don't hold your breath. Good work, back and forth. Good. Now those 30 seconds again. We're doing clamshell lifts. To make this one harder, this is where you can actually use a band. Put it around your legs. If you want to have it really hard, you can put it up to your knees, over your knees. If you want it a little bit easier, put it below your knees. We're still laying on the side. Okay. Good, and we're pushing up and spreading. Make sure that that elbow right underneath your shoulder. Again, I don't want it too forward, too back. Make sure that your core is engaged. You're lifting up and pushing those hips slightly forward, spreading your knees apart, and coming back nice and slow. You're not going to feel this one as much in your abdominals. You're going to feel it in your glutes. "13 seconds. Five. Good. We have a little bit of time when you're flipping over. Making sure that you still have that band. If you don't have a band and want to make it harder, you can take a weight and put that on your hip as well. Make it a little bit harder for that push-up. So we're going in 10 seconds. Good. And pushing up. See how that weight can actually go and make that lower leg do a little bit more work here. Keeping your feet together the whole time. Don't forget to spread your knees slightly. 20 more seconds, and then we're going into alternating V-sits. Good. Get those shoulders away from your ears. Don't let them creep up. In 5. Good. We have that 30-second break. We are going into alternating V-sits. If you want to try regular V-sits, go ahead and give it a shot. For now, I'm going to keep with the alternating just so people understand what I'm talking about. But you go ahead and make it as hard as you need to. Good. So, with those V-sits, remember we're starting. Legs are down, arms are up. Let's go. We're going to touch alternating. An opposite arm, opposite leg. And this time I'm going to come all the way up, making sure that I'm really sitting and touching, not just lifting up my shoulders. Trying to keep that spine nice and straight. Good work. Feel that core. Make sure that you're bracing the whole time. And don't just flop back down. Control yourself on the way up and on the way down. Good. Nice work. We are starting back with the glute bridges. Feel free to either get a little bit harder or stick with the easy version. This is the last round of the circuit that we're doing. We have 15 seconds. Set up so that your feet are just at your fingertips. You're engaging your core already. Good, and let's lift up. And then slowly back down. Good, don't rush this. Focus on squeezing the core, like I mentioned. Squeeze your glutes at the top. Make sure that you're not overextending your back. I want your back to be in neutral. Almost there. Good. Relax. You're going to be going into dead bugs. So that's laying on the ground, alternating arms and legs. Again, give it a shot. If you want to use a band instead of a weight, you can have the band holding your arms and spreading them out. This is another way to activate the shoulders. You can also go and have a band around your feet, making sure that you're pulling them apart. So this is a little bit trickier when you do it. You may need a bigger band. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Good. Keeping that other leg at 90 degrees with parallel to the ground. There are lots of different ways to actually make an exercise either harder or easier. Okay, so if you ever need any ideas, feel free to reach out to your PSP staff, and we would love to help. Almost there. Good. And relax. We are going into that clamshell lift. So coming to the side. Elbow right underneath the shoulder. Feet right in line with the hips. We have 10 seconds before we begin the first side. Good, let's go. Lifting up and back down. Fantastic work, everyone. Keep this up. This is the last round, remember, so make sure that you're still squeezing your core and you're not letting yourself go and lose that technique just because you're tired. Tired is only temporary. 10 seconds. Good. Switching over to the other side. Last time, we'll be doing those clamshell lifts. Feet are together, right in line with your hips. Knees are bent. Shoulder and elbow are right in line. If you want to make this harder again, feel free to put your hand up. Even hold the weight as you do it. Another tip, so many different ways that we can do this. Let's go. Good work. Don't forget to squeeze your glutes and let yourself come down nice and gentle. Control your movement. Seconds left. Almost there. Push your pelvis a little bit forward. But again, don't hyperextend your back. 3, 2, 1. Last exercise. Making sure that our shoulders are down and back. We're laying on the ground. Legs are out. Arms are up top. Still having those shoulders down. We're going to be doing alternating opposite facets. We have 12 seconds to go. If you're waiting, either feel free to grab a drink or to work on that core brace. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Try to come up nice and high, keeping your spine nice and straight. So imagining that string going all the way through from your hips to your head. You're not allowing any bad posture to come into this exercise. Nice work. 12 seconds left. Almost there. Good. And relax. So that was the workout. We're going to jump into a cool down, but let's take 2 seconds. We're going to grab some water, make sure that we actually can hydrate. It is so important to hydrate, especially during the summer. Okay, so if you just grab some water, we're going to actually start our cool down. Now, normally, if we were in a real life situation where we're not just all sitting in our houses doing this workout, then I would actually get you to almost try walking around for a couple minutes, helping your blood pressure, helping your blood flow really lower at its own pace. We're not just stopping abruptly, okay? We want our heart rate to lower nice and slow, okay? Since we're already sitting, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to warm down, show you how to stretch a full body stretch starting from the ground. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're actually gonna pull one leg in, one leg out, okay? We're gonna keep our posture, keep our shoulders down and back. We're gonna just twist slightly with our pelvis, and instead of going and thinking, bringing your chest to the knee, we're gonna actually think of pulling our pelvis down. Okay, so that's gonna help going and keeping our back straight.
It's 1 o'clock.
And you'll actually feel it, that's why I can get it. You'll actually feel it behind your leg, okay? Right into those hamstrings. Don't be afraid to also pull that toe up to your body as well. Okay? We're gonna hold this slightly, take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and go a little bit further down. For any of these stretches, make sure that you're only going to a point that you're comfortable. You should feel a slight pain, but it's not a pain that you think is gonna last. It's almost like a stretch that you're feeling. Okay, if you ever feel a pain and you're like, oh, that's not good, make sure to back off right away and go and actually talk to your doctor. Good, you can slowly sit up. We're gonna switch legs. Good, again, making sure that we're bending with that pelvis, not just going and letting our chest fall. So we're keeping our back nice and straight. Our toes are gonna be coming towards us. And you can feel this all along the bottom of your legs. Good, take a deep breath. And go a little bit deeper into this stretch. Good, we're gonna bring our feet together into more of a butterfly stretch here. Okay, now you're gonna try to go and have your knees touch the ground. If you can't do that, no worries. If you do wanna put a slight pressure on it, that's okay. All I'm doing is pushing my shoulders down with my elbows on my legs. I am not forcing my body into a position though. All I'm doing is allowing my body to go into the position that I can actually fit into, okay? Another thing, keep your back nice and straight and pushing your pelvis forward still. Good, take a deep breath. Try to relax a little bit deeper into the ground. Good. We're gonna cross our legs here or sit however you feel comfortable. If you're uncomfortable doing crisscross, you can also have your legs out straight, or you can even do this while standing and having your hands on your hips. How we're gonna do this today, we're gonna take one arm, we're gonna place it on the side of the ground, we're gonna take our other arm, and we're gonna bend all the way to the other side, feeling that stretch all along your side of the body. Good, take a deep breath and try to sink into it a little bit more. Try to touch a little bit further down. Good, and slowly come back up to neutral. We're gonna go into the other side. Touching that elbow to the ground, reaching that opposite hand as far over as you can. Make sure that you're still in line, that you're not coming all the way forward or you're not going too far back. I want you right in line with the pelvis, almost going beside it. Good, and another deep breath. And out. Good, coming back up into that neutral position. We're gonna lay on our sides, almost as if we were gonna go back into that clamshell. This time, feel free to actually relax your shoulder on the ground. You can have your hand, whoever you feel comfortable, underneath your head, out in front of you, however you want. You're gonna bend, so at your top leg, your bottom leg is gonna be nice and straight. You're gonna grab your back foot and try to keep your knees in line with each other. I don't want one going all the way forward or all the way back right now. Keep them in line. And here's the trick. Going and pushing your pelvis, again, slightly forward while still keeping your knees in line. And you'll feel a slight deeper pull. Okay, and holding this position. Now remember, this is just a cool down. If you really want to improve your flexibility, then we have lots of videos that you can check out for flexibility. But you honestly have to go and hold a stretch for almost up to 2 minutes to really notice the fibers of your muscles actually gaining flexibility or gaining range of motion. Right now, what we're doing is helping those muscle fibers align so that you don't get any cramps or knots, and you'll help recover faster. Good. From this position, what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll onto our stomach, and we're gonna start first by just putting our elbows down. Okay, that's gonna put a little bit of an arch. If that doesn't hurt, then you can almost put your hands down and it's like push. If that doesn't hurt, you can walk your hands up more. Now, what I want you to do is imagine going and pushing your belly button into the ground still. So what this is gonna do is this is actually gonna elongate all of those abdominal muscles. You should feel this right into your pelvis and going all the way almost up to the top of your ribs. Good. Now we're gonna slowly come back down. Now if you're at home, you can just roll over. I'm gonna actually flip so that you see me, because we're gonna do the same thing, but with our other leg. So we're grabbing our foot on the other side, having our upper body relax, pulling that foot all the way up. Good, and holding this position. Again, make sure that your knee is in line. We don't want it moving around too much. And slight push of that pelvis forward. Good. We only have 2 more stretches. The first one that we're gonna do, we're gonna stay on the ground here. We're gonna have our arms spread out, almost as if we're a T. We're gonna pick up one leg, and we're gonna cross it over our body, getting that low back and even into our glutes. We worked a lot of our back muscles as well, and into our glutes. If you can't go and touch your knee to the ground, that's okay. You can put a pillow, a roller, or even just hold your knee in place if you need to. Otherwise, you can let it drop. If your knee is touching and you're still not feeling anything, then feel free to actually bring your knee closer to your chest as you do this. The key is that you're trying to go and keep your 2 shoulders still on the ground as going and moving your leg as far to the other side as possible. Good, take a deep breath here. And try to sink into it a little bit more. Good. Relax your body, go back into a T position, and we're gonna do the other side. So lifting that leg up, dropping it over to the other side, having that nice twist in your back, keeping your shoulders on the ground, and feeling that stretch all through your low back and your glutes. And again, a deep stretch. A deep breath. Allowing yourself to go into that deep stretch. There you go. Good. Now the last stretch that I always like to end with is actually the child's pose. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sit right back onto our heels. If you can't get into that position, if it's too hard, do not worry about it. You can actually grab a pillow or something else and put it right on your feet so that whenever you sit back, you're still touching as much as you can, but you have something to relax onto, okay? Now that you're here, the main focus that I want you to actually concentrate on is stretching your upper body. So we're gonna walk our hands out as far as they can, really pulling yourself all the way, and then pushing your chest into the ground. Okay, your chest should almost be sinking into the ground here. If you can, relax your head. My head's just up because I'm talking. You don't have to be talking here, so relax your body. Keep your hips down the whole time. Good, and walk your hands all the way to the right side so that you're feeling that stretch all along your left side. Your hips are staying in the same spot. in the right side this time. Good, and then back to neutral, and then make your way up into a sitting position. Fantastic work, everyone. That was my core circuit exercise today. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, my name is Vicky. I work as a fitness instructor for Wainwright, and I really hope that you guys subscribe so you can get lots more videos, and hopefully we can get a lot of people involved. Thank you again, and have a good day.